Hey there, internets. This is Kyle with another edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. We are on day 112 in this journey in starting a new online business and trying to get from zero to $1 million within the course of a year, $1 million in revenue, while doing it simply part-time because I still got a full-time job, bills to pay, and kids to feed, and all that fun stuff. Today's video is all about trying to make a little more progress every day, even when I don't really feel like doing jack shit. So today, my normal routine on a weekday is, obviously go to work usual hours, get home about, 6 or so, hang out with the family, the kids, help my wife with dinner if she hasn't already fed the kids, play with the kids, get them ready for bed, and, ultimately help my wife put the kids to bed. After that, usually figure out what the hell I want to eat for dinner, if anything. Sometimes I eat like a really late lunch because whatever my whole food schedule or whatnot is just kind of all over the map right now, which isn't great and something I need to work on, but whatever. It's not a focus right now. And then after eating, I try to hang out with my wife a little bit, and then ultimately head down here to try to get some work done. And then after, spending an hour, 2-3 hours, depending what day it is on that, record a quick video here, which takes me usually about 20 minutes, and then call it a night. Some days, like today, getting the kids to bed takes a little bit longer so that I don't get done. And then maybe it's like, 8 o'clock, 8:30 by the time, they finally get back down to bed. Then like today, I was a little bit hungry, so I was like, I should make something. So whatever, make some eggs, something easy. But then I just want to sit down and just chill, watch whatever. Amazon Prime today was the streaming service of choice. And so I sit down there, start watching something, some series, and then, watch one episode. And then it's like, oh, that was really interesting. Let me go and watch, I'll just start the next one because, whatever. I'm just going to watch 5 minutes just to kind of see where the next episode's headed, but I'm not going to sit here for a whole other episode because that would just be a waste of time, right? Well, then I sit through 45 minutes out of the 1 hour remaining of the next episode and whatever the series is, and I'm like, oh shit. Now I've been sitting here on the couch eating and just chilling for like an hour and a half. It was already 8:30 then, so now it's like 10 o'clock, pushing 10:30. Now I'm feeling tired because, I got a full belly. I was just chilling. Fuck, I should just go to bed because sleep is important, right? And I was very tempted to do that today, as I am, not very often, but I mean, at least one or two times a week when I'm trying to stay in this routine. Again, I just feel like not doing anything because I don't want to do anything. But I did remember that I had not posted a new video here, which again is part of my routine. Again, I think it's important just for what I'm trying to do to push myself to be doing something consistently every day. So even if that just means I'm recording a video, doing some light editing, getting it put up on the YouTubes, which means I got to come up with a, a thumbnail, little graphic thing. It's very simple. It doesn't take me long to do, but just something has to do. It's not going to get done by itself, right? My AI robot hasn't, fully streamlined every single process in this thing. And anyway, as I'm upstairs, hit the restroom, brush my teeth. I was just like, fuck, I just want to go to bed. It's like 10:30, 10:45, whatever. And I'm like, crap, I haven't actually posted a video in like 2 days because for some reason, yesterday when I'd come down here, something came up with the family, so kind of had to cut the video short that I was doing, and then I did not get back down here to edit the prior day's video to then publish that. And so I figure, well, I need to get down here to get those videos pushed out because, again, not that anybody really cares on the internet because there's only like 3 people that ever watch these videos ever, and I'm sure they watch like the first 10 seconds and they're like, yeah, I don't really care to sit here listen to this dude for another 20 minutes, so I'm going to click off to something else, watch more cat videos or something. But again, I think the point here is not that I'm trying to, again, be consistent in posting to be sure I can increase my viewership, get more subscribers, all that jazz. It's be consistent for my own sake because I'm trying to develop better habits that will ultimately lead me to have a successful online business. Yes, this is day, 112 in my little journey here. you could say, oh, geez, man, 100 days in, like you should be making some kind of money. You should have at least some product pushed out there. And sure, I'm a little disappointed by that, but I can say that I'm looking at my YouTube, whatever studio thing, and it shows I've got, over 100 videos published, which is at least something for me. Again, at least showing myself that, hey, I did make this commitment back in whatever September or something it was, January right now. I said I was going to do this. I'm doing it. Yes, I'm not exactly where I hoped I would be in terms of actually, having a product out there, making sales, generating revenue, but that's okay. Because sure, getting to, starting a new online business, making $1 million in a year sounds really catchy. It's an easy thing to kind of latch on to if you're just getting started. But the reality is, if I don't get to $1 million in a year, that's okay. Because we, for the most part, overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5-10 years, longer time horizons. That's where I'm trying to keep my focus. It's not so much exactly, what's the score come this September in terms of what my revenues are, but it's, what have I learned in doing this and in developing these new muscles within my brain, within my body to focus on this type of activity? What have I learned? What knowledge have I gained? Maybe what new people have I been able to interact with, whatever the case is. Like those are all equally as important as just, what's the dollar sign in the bank account, right? And again, I'm fortunate being in a position where, I'm not counting on getting this whole online business, off the ground so I can feed my family sort of thing. I'm fortunate to have a good day job, pays all my bills, helps us have a very comfortable lifestyle, frankly. But just, again, is not something I want to do like for the rest of my working years, however long that is, another 20, 30, 40 years. And I know that if I ever want to be able to make a dramatic shift from what I'm doing today to doing something very different in the future, the only way I will be able to make that adjustment is by exercising my brain and my body to do the things now that I know are going to be relevant to making the big shift somewhere down the line, whether that's a year from now, whether that's 5 years from now, whatever the case is. And so, yeah, I don't like doing these all the time. Obviously, it's hard for me, and I'm talking to myself in my basement into a camera here. Again, to people, nobody that's really going to ever see this probably. I mean, at the very least, my kids will maybe be able to look back at these someday and say, hey, Dad was really trying to make a shift in what he was doing. Again, hopefully I'll be successful at some point in the future when they're adults. Hopefully I'll have success and they can go back and look at these and be like, oh, geez, now I understand, like, this was not easy for him. He didn't, become who he was, 20 years from now overnight. There was a process and there was a struggle, et cetera, because it's important to understand that nothing in this life comes easy, even though various online gurus want to kind of paint that picture of, it's all sunshine and rainbows when you get to the online business world. I mean, it's just not. Again, trying to maintain the right perspective of what I'm doing here, I got to hold myself accountable to making this progress and just go from so frankly, I haven't really touched the web pages, from what I showed you previously. I do still need to continue to refine those, update those, ultimately build the membership funnel that I'm looking to start, etc. Although frankly, that's kind of maybe secondary, just from being sure I have all the just main lead gen or opt-in page configured correctly, and then I just want to start creating some content, start to push out onto the other YouTube channel that I will be using and the various social medias, so at least I can just start drawing people in, try to start building a list, and then really once I get that machine hopefully kind of going consistently, probably then is really where I want to focus on building the membership side of the business. So yeah, I tend to forget that, but I do need to keep these things in order. It's not important for me to have all the membership things all built out. I just need to kind of get back active on that channel, and again, trying to get people at least into the lead generation part of the funnel. In other news, still have the usual BS in my day job, just fun stuff going on there as usual. But then tomorrow I do have another interview with this same job I've mentioned previously. I was really tempted to kind of poke at the HR lady, recruiter person, to be like, hey, you know, what's the plan here? You know, are you guys going to be making a decision soon? Is this going to take a long time? You know, what's your schedule here for, again, making an offer to somebody? I held off on doing that. I was very tempted. Again, when I'm sitting in my day job, like very frustrated, I'm just like, man, fuck this. You know, I just need to get this other job going. So let me see where the hell they are. But I did not do that for a few reasons. I mean, one, I am on the schedule to talk to somebody tomorrow. It's a different person, somebody else that the main guy wanted me to talk to. So I figured, let me at least get through that. Again, see what the follow-up is. You know, give that a day or two. Probably if I don't hear from the recruiter by, you know, sometime mid next week, you know, presumably I'll shoot her a note, be like, hey, you know, whatever, had a good chat with this guy last Friday, kind of curious what your next steps are, etc. The other thing is, or the other reason why I didn't want to reach out and make it seem like I'm trying to push them to make a decision is just because I guess frankly, I don't want to sound desperate, and I don't want to give them any reason to believe that, oh yeah, we know Kyle is really interested in this thing, so he'll probably accept, you know, a lower offer or whatever, because obviously he's maybe looking to really get out of his current situation, so they can kind of maybe lowball me potentially. Not that they would, but reasonable thing, I think, for somebody to consider. So again, I want to maintain this allure of, look, I think I've explained well enough to multiple people now, I can really benefit your company in this role that you're hiring for. But hey, you know, I'm just chilling over here. Like, I'm good. I'm making good money doing what I'm doing. If you want me, you know, come and get me, right? Like, you got to sell me. I've already sold you that I can, you know, fulfill the needs of this job, that I'm a good dude to work with. I'll be a good colleague for what you're looking for. Like, now you need to really convince me that, you know, making this shift in my life and in my career right now, something pretty different, and doing it for you guys as opposed to for anybody else, that this is the right move for me. Show me the money, right? As well as show me what the heck exactly you want me to do coming into it. So anyway, that's kind of the way I'm playing it right now. There are some other reasons, again, in terms of why I don't, even though I'm really motivated to like want to just go to make a change, because again, the frustrations with my current job, I do have other reasons why I actually do want to kind of delay it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just I mean, I guess I kind of say all this just to explain that, like, I try to think things through in a strategic manner, meaning you can't act on emotion. You can't act on emotion, but yet on the flip side, you can't just paralyze yourself and not making, you know, any decision. So that's not what I'm like proposing or whatever. Not indecisiveness you're leaning towards. It's just, sure, you have to let your emotions play out, give that time to ruminate, whatever. But then as that passes, move into a mode of, you know, actually logically thinking through what are the various reasons for wanting to take this action versus that action. And then, you know, what's the right decision for this time, which maybe for this time means means don't do anything, don't take any action, which again, that's kind of where I'm at today with this particular decision. Again, a week from now, it'll be a different decision depending on whatever has happened, has transpired from now until then. But at each point in time, it's, again, really trying to evaluate the whole playing field as a whole. I mean, I'm not a big, like, chess player per se. I don't know. I just never really got into it. Maybe because I never really knew anybody that was really good at it. I think it might be a game that if I had a worthy opponent, somebody that was really interested in it, and that really pushed me to get more into it, I think I would probably enjoy it. But whatever, that just was never something that's come up in my life. But I kind of understand the perspective of, you know, looking at a chessboard, recognizing that all these pieces have defined moves of where they can go, that define the limits of what you are able to do, the actions you are able to do, but also puts limitations on what your opponent is able to do. So the more you are able to understand all the possible moves that your opponent can make, the better you are to make the best strategic decision for the move you want to make on your side of the board, right? Again, how I try to think through things, I mean, in my career, but just, I mean, in life in general, is to, you know, evaluate as many of the potential alternatives of how things could play out. I mean, there's always like unknown variables. If you're playing a game of chess outside, you get a strong breeze and knocks your whole chessboard off the table or something, you know, you're fucked. You got to start the game over, right? There will always be those types of circumstances that just flip things around. You're not going to know. But those should be, you know, relatively few and far between. So the point is, understand how to play the game. Try as best you can to understand your opponent and the mindset that they're bringing to the game. Understand what moves do they have, which, I mean, of course, in the game of life, you don't always know all the moves that your opponent has at their disposal. But you can, again, use some reason, use some logic, sort of fill in the blanks, what you might not know in the scope of the broader scenario that's going on, right? So that I'd share that with you guys, because that's just something going on with my life. On the real estate front, my property that I am putting up for sale, rental property, did go live on the market today. It's up on the Zillows and all the whatever real estate websites. And unfortunately, as of at least when I talked to my real estate agent, I don't know, around 4 or 5 today, he said he didn't really have much additional interest. But even as it stands right now, I do have 2 solid offers, on the table. They're pretty different offers, but in neither one of them I would say is like a slam dunk. Otherwise, I would just go and sign it, be done with this, move on. Start working through the process of getting appraisals, inspections, and all that BS done. So unfortunately, it's not quite, they're not strong enough that I'm ready to make that decision. So that's why I'm kind of waiting now that it's live on the market. Everybody could see it aside from just real estate agents being able to see it. Wanted to kind of see what the response was from, the broader market. And then, ultimately make a decision sometime this weekend probably. Because usually it's out there live, and if it's not really if it doesn't seem like it's getting a ton of interest first weekend out, then interest is probably not really going to grow over time. It's like if you hang on to it, then you're just you're taking a bet that somebody, is going to a new buyer is going to suddenly enter the market, find your place and be like, oh my God, that's actually exactly what I was looking for. And I'm willing to pay that much money for it. Yes, that does happen, but it's a risk. So again, since I already have 2 pretty solid offers, I think I could definitely move forward at least with one of those if I needed to, meaning if I didn't have anything else that comes up on the table. But I am hoping that we get some other interest, and, again, my agent can now say, hey, we've already got an offer. We're going to be making a decision soon. If your buyer really wants to move on this, he needs to move now. This thing's going to go off the market by Monday or whatever. So anyway, we'll just see how that plays out. Should be interesting. But that's another big thing going on in my world these days. So with that, I think I'll call it good for tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. Keep on kicking ass, taking names. And I'll see you next time. Peace.